What's up, you guys? I'm Eric and welcome back to my channel. No, you grow up. Today's video is going to be the last video in my Playmates series, or at least the last video for a while, and I'm going to be reviewing the Last Ronin figure that they just put out. So I'm really happy that this figure hit at the time it did. It's pretty serendipitous, honestly, because it would have been just kind of a bummer to end things on the last video, because I don't really have a lot of good things to say about the modern state of Playmates, but this figure is definitely a bright spot in what they've been doing, and it's definitely the best thing they've done in probably the last 25 years. This figure is by no means perfect. I am going to have some criticisms for it, but like I said, it is just so much better than anything else that they've put out recently. So I don't really have a whole lot else to say, so let's just get to looking at this figure. Alright, you guys, so for this review, I'm going to be using the standard release figure. I do have the chase variant, but I'm probably going to end up leaving that in package. They are the same exact figure. The only difference is clearly just the deco, so everything that I say to this figure will apply to the chase variant as well, outside of anything I say about the deco. So just starting off with my first impressions of this figure, I was blown away at how good this figure was when I actually got it in hand. The promo pictures did not do this figure justice. He definitely just looked a little bit chubbier and a little bit more out of proportion, but the actual figure in hand just turned out amazing. Clearly this figure isn't perfect. It definitely has some problems, and we'll get into that once we get into the details of the review. But just taking a look at this figure, it is just drenched in Playmates charm, and that's exactly what I want from Playmates. I don't need Playmates to make modern 6 or 7 inch scale figures that are highly articulated, because no matter what they put out, they're just not going to be able to keep up with the big dogs like NECA and Super 7. This is where Playmates just shines. This figure is just drenched in charm, and I can't get over how much I like this figure. This is what Playmates needs to be going for. They need to do things that are inside their wheelhouse, that have been their bread and butter for years in this 4.5 inch scale, because nobody else can do anything like this. Yes, maybe NECA's figure will have a little bit better detail, and I don't know about articulation, but I mean, it's definitely going to be an objectively better figure. But this figure, I don't know. I think I'm still going to like it better than the NECA one, even, because again, it hits you with that nostalgia, and it feels like it could fit right in with any of the 90s sublines. Alright, so we're going to start things off by taking a closer look at the weapons. So he comes with a pretty good range of weapon. So the clear omission here with the accessories is that he doesn't come with the tonfas, which is definitely a big bummer. But other than that, I pretty much only have good things to say about these accessories. So getting some of the lamer ones out of the way, he is a Playmates Ninja Turtles figure, so I'm not surprised that he does come with the ninja stars here. And again, he comes with 2 different sets. Nothing too exciting with these. He can't really even hold them in his hand or anything, so those are just kind of throwaway accessories, so we'll get those out of the way right off the bat. The one cool thing that he does come with is this grappling hook, and it can't come apart and actually be used as a grappling hook or anything, but it just attaches on to his side right here. And I think it's just such a nice little touch. It's just a nice little accessory that hangs there, but it looks really good. Getting into the weapons of the brothers, so I'm going to try to keep this spoiler free, so I'm not going to say what turtle this actually is, but he comes with all 4 of the weapons, and he comes with the broken katana here, and it's nice that these actually are katanas, because a lot of times the swords that Leo has aren't actually katanas. I can't remember what the name of those swords are, and they're the ones with like the square based handles, and those swords aren't actually katanas. Those are a specific ninja sword, and I can't think of what they're actually called, but they're very often misreferred to as a katana. Both swords came out pretty good. The deco on them is they're both I mean, done really well. Yeah, the paint on these are all very, very good, especially for Playmates. I'm very surprised. They're made of a softer material, so they're not brittle at all, so they shouldn't break. Alright, moving over to his bow staff, and his bow staff looks pretty good. The only complaint I have is I don't really know if it's a complaint about this or the sheath that holds it, but it just doesn't fit into there too well. I haven't tried heating it up with a hair dryer or anything like that, but I might try that to get it to fit in there a little bit better. Moving over to his nunchucks, so Dual nunchucks, again, nothing too exciting here. They both look pretty good, just black with the gray grips there. And last but not least, his two sais, and again, both done pretty well. The deco's pretty good on these, and I mean, these accessories were done very well. I'm very surprised at the care and detail and the deco that these accessories received. Moving on to this figure itself. So again, first impressions were just through the roof with this figure, but once I kind of got over that and started looking at him and playing with him, I did find some things that were annoying or just, I mean, mistakes or overlooks on Playmates' part, but overall I do mostly have good things to say about this figure. So we have ball joint in the shoulders, moves that full 360 degrees there, get it up pretty, so probably for about 90 degrees there, so probably around like 115 degrees maybe there max, going up there. It's really his hood, and I don't know if it comes off. I haven't tried to take it off or anything yet. I don't think I'm going to, but that's mostly what limits his articulation, is these shoulder pads. That this hood is all kind of one solid piece right there with his goggles, and that's what you're going to kind of find with this figure. His own clothing and stuff is mostly what limits his articulation, and if it wasn't for that, he would actually be a very good articulated figure. So we got double joints in the elbows there, see that, and they both move pretty good. The lower joints were a little bit stiffer than the upper joints, but I never even heated this figure up or anything. Wrists, full swivel, and we got the pivot, or not pivot, sorry, but the hinge joint back and forth there. And I think that's all the articulation that there is in his arm there, but again, quite a bit of arm articulation for a Playmates figure. Just learning this now as I'm doing this review, but he does have a waist swivel, which is kind of interesting for a Turtles figure, since it seems like their shell would keep that from happening, but I guess it's a nice little touch. You can get him going on different angles if you want to, and he's wearing the jacket, so that would kind of mask the weird twisting of his shell. So I guess the more I think about it, that is a pretty nice piece of articulation there. Moving down to the legs, so again, ball joint there on the hip, but the skirts of the coat just kind of limit to where he can go. So if without his coat, he would have a good range of motion, but it's very limited by his actual molded coat on there, and it can't be removed or anything like that, so you never really would be able to figure out how good that joint can move. Coming down to the knee, double joints in the knee, which again are appreciated, but the only joint that can really move on them is the top one, because these shin pads are fused to the leg, or at least just on there so tight that that second joint really can't move much at all there. So again, I appreciate the effort that they put in for the articulation, and I'm not even mad that they chose to go with the aesthetics over the actual articulation, because again, I like playing with these figures and stuff like that, but I don't need an insane amount of articulation for them. Anything more than what we got out of the original Playmates line is a bonus, and just having actual elbow joints and knee joints is plenty enough for me. Coming down to the ankle back and forth like that, and it does swivel out like that as well. So again, way more articulation than we've gotten in any other Playmates figures up to this point, really, and it is appreciated. And again, I'm not even that bummed that the articulation is limited by the actual aesthetics of the figure, because most of the time this figure is just going to be sitting on a shelf, and I want it to look as good as it can, and the actual clothing and stuff on the figure does a pretty good job of hiding most of the joints and stuff like that, so he does look pretty solid. Alright, so looking at the deco of this figure, it is again done pretty well. There's not really a lot of mispainted parts or anything like that. The deco is all pretty clean as far as I can see. The only thing that really drives me nuts is that his toes and heels didn't get the wash. I wish there was a little bit more consistency there, but really that is the only nitpick that I have as far as the deco is concerned. Maybe we could have used a little bit more detailing on his gauntlets there on his wrists, but other than that, I mean, this figure, the deco was done very, very well on it. Alright, you guys, so I bumped the camera, but that's pretty much all I have for my review of this figure. If I had to give it a point value, if I was ranking it out of 10, I would probably give this figure a 9.25. So the only thing I would really take points away from, I'd probably take half a point away from just, I mean, the toes are just way too green down here. So I definitely have to take away at least half a point there. And then just another quarter point just for having that articulation but not really being able to capitalize on it. Again, I am happier that they went with the aesthetics route over the worrying about the articulation, but again, it's just one of those things that would have been cooler if it could have got figured out a little bit better. One more shout out to All Yeah Comics. Again, thank you guys for hooking me up with these figures and hooking me up with that Chase variant at retail price. Just very cool of you guys. Again, you guys are great. I have nothing but good things to say about that place. So if you're ever in Muncie or you just like shopping from home, they do online sales 4 or 5 nights a week. You guys should check them out. I'll put the link down below again. Awesome people to do business with. So please check those guys out if you're interested in actual comics and stuff like that. That's going to wrap things up for the Playmates series for a little bit anyway. So I'll be back with some more videos dealing with more modern lines and stuff like that. I'll be talking a lot about NECA and Super 7 and stuff going forward. But that's all I got for you guys in this one. So take it easy, be safe, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace.